See how that works by taking a real example. What if we have the fraction 6/8 and we would like to subtract from that fraction the fraction 1/8? Well, with subtracting fractions, it's the same as adding fractions. You have to have the same denominator in order to subtract them. So it's easy to remember. And so what we're going to do then, since we have a common denominator already, you just carry it along for the ride, and then on the top you just subtract the numerator, 6 minus 1. So what you get here is 5/8. And then you look at this and you say, can I simplify this anymore? And this, you're not able to simplify it anymore because I cannot divide top or bottom by anything to simplify it any further, so that is the final answer. Now, if we were going to spend a few minutes here in the beginning just drawing a quick picture, let's see what this fraction subtraction looks like in terms of a picture. If I had a pizza or a pie, and I were to cut it into 8 pieces, because that's what my denominator says I'm doing, then I cut it into fourths like that, and then I do a big X through the center, and now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now for that fraction, for that particular 6/8 right there, this is a piece. Here's 1, here's 2, here's 3, here's 4, here's 5, and here's 6. So there's 6/8 of a pizza, or 6/8 of a pie. Now from that, I'm trying to subtract this guy, which is 1/8. Again, my pizza is cut into 8 slices, so I'm going to do a big plus like this, and then a big X that cuts me into 8 slices. Now inside of that, I would like to represent 1/8, right? And because it's 1/8, I'm just going to shade one of these guys, so this is 1/8. So what I'm doing is I'm taking this much pizza, 6 out of 8 pieces, and I'm subtracting from it 1 out of 8 pieces. So now that you can see everything is in terms of 8 slices of the pizza, everything matches as far as how many slices the pizza's cut into, in other words 8 here, then all I'm going to take is, if I had a box of pizza on the table cut like this and I only had 6 of those pieces, then if I were to subtract 1 of those pieces, I would just take 1 away. So what would I be left with? When I do this subtraction, again, it's always going to be in terms of your common denominator, in this case 8, so it's still in terms of a pizza that's cut into 8 slices, but once I have 6 of those slices, 6/8, and I subtract from it 1/8, I'm taking a slice away, and what I am left with is, here's piece number 1, piece number 2, piece number 3, piece number 4, and then piece number 5. So this is 5/8 right here. That is visually, graphically what's going on. That's why you really need a common denominator in order to subtract fractions properly, because whenever you subtract two things, they have to represent a representation of the same sort of thing. In this case, a pizza that's cut into 8 pieces, we're subtracting a larger amount of slices minus a smaller amount of slices, and we get the 5/8 over here. All right, I just wanted to draw a nice little graphic for the first problem. We won't be doing that for the future problems, but sometimes it's good to take a step back and make sure you understand what it would look like. Now we would like to subtract, we would start with the fraction 5/6, and we would like to subtract 4/6 from it. So the first thing we do is check the denominator. We do have a common denominator, so we carry it along, and then you subtract 5 minus 4. So I'll write 5 minus 4 up here, which of course is 1/6. Then you look at this and say, is this fully simplified? And of course it is. I can't divide top and bottom by anything to make that any simpler, so I just go like that. All right, let's switch colors over here. What if we have the problem 3/4 minus 2/4, right? 3/4 minus 2/4. Well, the first thing you do is check and see, do I have a common denominator? And I do. I have a 4. So I carry that along for the ride, and then I subtract the numerators. 3 minus 2 is in the top, which of course is 1, and then that's over 4. So I have 1/4 of a pizza. So it's the same sort of thing as adding fractions. You want to make sure you have a common denominator, and once you do that, you just subtract the numerators. Wrapping the lesson up here, we have 6/10 or 7/10 minus 4/10. Again, we check to see, do we have a common denominator? We do, it's 10, so we just keep that along for the ride, and then 7 minus 4, we just kind of do that on the top. 7 minus 4 is 3, so we have 3/10. And I can't simplify that any further. 3/10, there's nothing I can divide top and bottom by to make that any simpler. So it's already done, Here's the last problem. 8 out of 12 pieces of pizza minus 3 out of 12 pieces of pizza. What do? We check first for the denominator, which is a 12. So it's already a common denominator. And then in the top, it's 8 minus 3. And then 8 minus 3, of course, is 5/12. Cannot divide top and bottom by anything to make that any simpler. So 5/12 is the answer.